right, y'all, it's Thanksgiving morning. We brined our turkey overnight. Everything is prepped. We made our cornbread stuffing yesterday. We made our cranberry sauce a few days before. All we have to do today is roast the turkey and make some gravy. And we're gonna do that at the same time. We're gonna breathe deep and get through it. You're getting 2 for 1 today. We're gonna be twice as happy when we're done. Peace and love, y'all. Now let me show you how we brine that turkey. I have about a quart of water in here that we're going to bring to a boil, and we're going to dissolve 2 cups of kosher salt. As that salt dissolves, we're going to add our 8 cloves, about a teaspoon of crushed red pepper, 8 bay leaves, and I have 1 Granny Smith apple that I cut into 8 pieces. I'm going to put that in the water and just let that steep until the salt dissolves. Okay, so I've got my brine here with apples, bay leaves, cloves, red pepper, and salt. And I'm going to pour that into a 5-gallon container. So now I've got my warm brine in there, and I'm going to put enough ice in here to make 2 gallons of brine, or you can use cold water. Just make sure you're not putting your turkey into a warm brine. Now I'm going to put my turkey in the brine, and I'm going to brine it for 24 hours and let it sit in the refrigerator until it's ready to cook on Thanksgiving Day. Alright, so I'm going to take the turkey out of the brine that we started yesterday, and we're going to rinse the turkey and pat it dry. Alright, so we've got 2 things going on this morning. We're roasting a turkey and we're making gravy, and we're doing them at the same time. So just take a deep breath and I'm going to tell you what we got. We've got our turkey. It's about 13 pounds. We have 3 coarsely chopped onions, 2 carrots, 2 celery stalks, and a little bit of fresh thyme. We have about 3 tablespoons of melted butter, about a cup of chicken stock, and my secret Cajun spice. All of that is for the turkey. So the most important thing is the gravy. That's what we're going to start with. We have our turkey neck with the gizzards and the heart. We have a onion that we cut up skin and all, a piece of celery, a little carrot, and some thyme. We have about 3 or 4 tablespoons of butter, a cup of sherry, and about 6 cups of chicken stock, and a 1/4 cup of flour. I'm going to start the gravy process with 1 tablespoon of hot oil, and I'm going to add the turkey parts, the neck, the gizzard, and the heart. I'm going to cook that for about 5 minutes. All right, we got our turkey parts cooking. They've been here about 5 minutes. We're going to add the vegetables, the onion with the skin on, the parsley, thyme, celery, and carrot. Also threw in a little bay leaf. We're going to cook that for 5 more minutes. Right now I'm going to turn that down to low and put a lid on it and let it simmer for 20 minutes. So while that simmers for 20 minutes, brings us back to the turkey. We've got about 4 tablespoons of melted butter that I'm going to pour on these vegetables that I told you about earlier, the celery, carrot, onion, all coarsely chopped, and we're going to just toss that in the melted butter. Now I'm going to take about 1/3 or so of all those vegetables and stuff it in the turkey. And as some fall out, that's okay, because we're going to scatter the rest around in the pan. Alright, so now that we have the vegetables stuffed in the turkey, we're going to take some melted butter and just rub that all over it. We're going to start with the breast side up when we rub, but we're going to cook it starting out with the breast side down. And I'm just going to sprinkle it with my Cajun spice, and then we're going to flip it over and rub the other side. And I've got 1 cup of chicken stock, more or less. I'm gonna pour over the vegetables in the pan. Okay, y'all, I've got the turkey, it's breast side down. I've got the oven at 400 degrees, which is hotter than you normally roast turkey, but we're gonna turn this one 3 times, and it's gonna cook evenly. The breast is gonna be done the same time the dark meat is done. So breast side down in the oven, 400 degrees for about 45 minutes. All right, so those have been simmering for 20 minutes, and I have 6 cups of chicken stock here, and I'm gonna add almost all of that, maybe reserve about a cup. Okay, so we've got our chicken stock boiling with all the turkey parts and the vegetables. We're just gonna turn that down to a simmer and let it simmer for 30 minutes. Right now I'm gonna strain our turkey stock. Started out as chicken stock, so now we infuse that turkey in it. Right now we're gonna take out the neck and the gizzards and the heart and let those cool so we can cut them up and shred them. And then we're just going to pour the stock back into our pot. And we're just going to keep that warm until it's time to move on. Okay, now everybody just take a deep breath. We're going to take the turkey out of the oven. Then we're going to close the oven. We're going to baste the turkey. And then we're going to turn it. Just you watch. Okay, so now we're just going to baste the turkey a little bit all over, just like that. There's still plenty of liquid in the bottom, but you can always add some more if you need it. Okay, now we're gonna turn the turkey 45 degrees, and we're gonna cook it with its leg side up. Just use some paper towels and set it just like that. Give it maybe a little more basting. We're going to put it back in the oven for about 20 more minutes before we baste and turn again. All right, so we're going to baste this a little bit more, and then we're going to turn it again and put it back in the oven with the other leg side up. Okay, so now the neck and the giblets are all cool enough to handle. So we're just going to pull the meat off the neck like that, and then we're going to chop it up. Okay, so we've got about 15 more minutes before we need to turn the turkey again. So we're going to start this gravy process again. We're going to throw in about 3 tablespoons of butter into a hot skillet. And we're going to, now listen, everybody breathe. I'm going to say the R word. We're going to make a roux. All right, so I've got 3 tablespoons of butter melting, and now I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of flour. All right, so now I've got the flour and the butter making the roux. I'm going to cook that till it's nice and brown, but first I'm going to add a little bit of Cajun spice to it. And we're just going to keep stirring it on medium heat until it turns brown. All right, things are starting to happen fast now. The roux is turning nice and brown, a little bit browner than peanut butter. Now I'm going to add the stock into the pan with the roux. Do this very carefully because it will splatter. Now we're gonna whisk that around and make sure we get out all the lumps. And we're gonna bring it to a boil. It's gonna thicken up, and then we're gonna let it simmer until we're ready for it again. Okay, kids, here we go. Turning and basting, basting and turning. Okay, now we're gonna take some paper towels again and turn the turkey breast side up. And we're going to baste it. And then we're gonna put it back in the oven for another 45 minutes, and hopefully it will be cooked perfectly. Okay, back in the oven for the last time, 45 minutes. The oven is still at 400. Rock and roll. Okay, now that turkey's been in there, breast side up for almost an hour now. I checked it after 45 minutes and gave it about 10 more. All right, now I'm going to remove this rack, and we're going to move the roasting pan back over to the stove top. All right, kids, we're winding it up here. The turkey's resting. We have our pan juices here that we're going to turn on the stove, and we're going to start deglazing them. I have the gravy that's been simmering, and now we're going to add the giblets. All right, now that these are starting to simmer, I'm going to add a cup of sherry. You can use white wine or vermouth. And we're going to scrape all this good stuff off the bottom of the pan. Now, if you will remember, we have about a cup of chicken stock left over from earlier. We're going to add that to the pan juices. Turn this on high and get that reducing down. We have our gravy right here that's nice and thick, but it's going to be perfect once we strain the juices in there. All right, so this is nice and reduced. I've got my cameraman doing double duty, holding the strainer and filming. We are multitasking. There we go. We're going to get all that good stuff out of there. All right, now look at that beautiful dark gravy. Is that good or what? Let's have some turkey, y'all. Okay, let's carve this thing up. Let's see what we have here. All right, now the white meat is still moist and the dark meat is fully cooked. That's a beautiful thing. Let's put some gravy on that. All right. We did it. We cooked away the blues. All right, that's it for cooking away the blues. Stay tuned for sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes, and apple pie coming to you all before Thanksgiving. Please like, share, and subscribe. And remember to read my blog, JulesBurkeWrites.com, an irreverent take on depression. That's a lot of fun. Peace and love, y'all. Let's see if Elvis is going to have a blues-free Thanksgiving. Huh? Oh, yeah. We did it. Cooked away the blues. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. I'd like to end things by channeling the late, great Furry Lewis via the late, great Jim Dickinson. Our Father who art in Washington, Donald Trump is his name, took me off since Amelia, put me back on Novocaine, and the sweetest flower that I ever smelt was a lily of the beach, and the worst whiskey I ever drank was down on Beale Street. Now the hopsgrass makes the hops, the honeybee makes the honey, the good Lord made the pretty girls, while somebody else makes all the money. You gotta keep on cooking no matter what.